Okay. Okay, I'll just wait one more minute before I begin. Would you prefer to ask questions by a meeting raising hand? Yeah, I mean, if you ever have a question, don't be afraid to interrupt me because, like I said earlier, this isn't going to take the full hour. This is like honestly going to take probably like 30 minutes. So I'll have a lot of time for Q&A. So yeah, I'd prefer you just raise your hand or you like even unmute to just like you like speak over me if you have to. I'm really not going to care. But yeah, if you don't feel like doing that, you can always just like leave a question in the chat and then I'll have Ning read it back to me.
Yeah.
All right, sure. We have another hand. Ali, what would you like to say?
Yeah, so I'm just asking a lot of questions. I'm just curious about this. I'm just wondering whether there is something similar to Express. Like, does Vue have like an Express.js integration, or does it use like another thing for routing?
Oh, okay. So well, Express is used for backend. So Express doesn't really relate.
I mean, React has like basically integration with Express, so you can just connect Express really easy. I'm just wondering if Vue.js has something similar to that. So you can connect front and then back end really easily.
1 second. Yes, your question will be answered in 2 seconds because Millie muted himself. So, yep. To Uncle, we said hi.
Ring,
Yes.
are we going to be able to get access to this recording? Because I have a friend that wasn't able to
course.
do it because
Yeah,
they're
of
in class
course.
right now.
It will be uploaded to the CS Hub YouTube channel,
All right,
and
perfect.
you will be provided with the link.
Okay. All right, guys, I'm back. So I think I
back.
understand your question, right? You're asking about Express because you said something about like a kind of like a framework to the framework in a way. Am I interpreting that correctly?
I'm basically saying like there is a way to use basically like integrate Express with like React.js, because like it has like really close connectivity, and to make them work together it's like really easy. I'm just wondering if there is something similar for Vue also to like basically integrate basically the front and the back end similar to what React does with like all this stuff.
Right. So again, I don't use React, so I didn't know about this, and I don't know what React does exactly, but I believe Vue does not have this. In order to make API calls, you would just do it like regularly in JS, like how to use like fetch, or me personally, I like to use Axios.
I see. Yeah, Axios are really good. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
I
All right,
think
so
yeah, we can start.
yeah, we could start, I think. All right, so welcome everyone. Welcome to my Vue.js workshop. I'm glad you can all make it. So before we begin, I just want to make sure everyone has the prerequisites. Firstly, the very important parts. Does everyone have Node.js installed? If someone does not have Node.js installed, could you please raise your hand? Okay, so we have one hand so far.
I can probably get it off VS Code right now, like VS virtual. What's it called?
All
Yeah,
right.
VS Code.
So you guys know how to do it, right? Like, do I have to go over that?
Like how to get it?
Yeah, how to install Node.
I should be able to, yeah.
Yeah, I believe you just like I can go here. You just install the package or like the exe. Is there an exe here? I'm actually not sure. Yeah, there's an installer, I guess, and then that should work for you. And to make sure you have it, you just like open up your terminal. Then oh yeah, you do that exactly. You just do node / or like -- version.
Are we going to be using terminal to code?
Sorry.
Are we going to be using terminal for coding, or are we going to use like an IDE?
Yeah, we'll be using Visual Studio Code to create the application.
Oh, wait, so question, so I have to download VS Code, I mean, Node separately rather than getting it as an extension from VS Code, it doesn't have it?
Well, yeah, because you need npm essentially. You need the npm in order to install Vue.
Okay,
So
okay,
as long as you can get npm, then you should be okay.
okay, bet, okay, thank you.
So yeah, we'll just take a couple of minutes to do that. So just let me know when you're done, okay? Is that good? No pressure, because honestly, man, like this isn't gonna take too long. Actually, if you don't mind, I know I said earlier I could wait, but like uh
Just go ahead.
I'll have the
Alright.
yeah, it's okay if I just like go ahead. Is that right? Like I
Yeah.
could post the slides later and like we have the recording and everything. Okay, so that I'll begin. So first of all, I'll just point out our objectives for this workshop. So first thing you want to do is learn how to install Vue and navigate the Vue CLI in order to create a Vue application. And once we have that, we'll want to understand Vue's concepts, especially the two core concepts that I believe are important, which are event handling and input binding. Next, we'll want to use those concepts to create a program that essentially just counts clicks. Like it's as simple as that. It'll dynamically just every time you click the button, it'll like change on its own. And also have like a little thing on the side where you could like type in just into like an input and it'll display any text. Specifically, this one will be like it'll put your name. And lastly, I also want to give some necessary resources to further look into Vue and its tools, as well as its features, which I'll have on the end of the slideshow. So first of all, what is Vue.js? So Vue.js is simply an open source front-end JavaScript framework. But then I'm also going to go in a little deeper. Some people may not know what is a framework. So a framework essentially is just, it's like a toolbox in a way. It allows you to work on things more easily. It just gives you more resources to simplify things. Like if you work with JavaScript vanilla, if anyone's ever done that before, it could be a little bit verbose. It could be annoying to work with. Like frameworks like Vue.js, it just simplifies things. It makes making user interfaces easier. And the way it works is it makes everything onto a single page. It makes a single page application, which I'll explain later. And just a little bit of history. Vue was initially released in February 2014, which was about 7 months after React was released. So now we're going to get to installing Vue.js. As long as you have Node and npm, this should be a pretty simple process. So we're just going to open up a terminal. So for Mac, it's just, terminal. But then for us Windows, we use the command prompts. So yeah, I have the commands right here. We're just going to type in, yeah, I don't know how to zoom on this, but I'll just like leave this out of the way. So I already have Vue, so this should probably like not do much for me. So yeah, you run npm install Vue. And then once that's finished, you could also do Vue. Anytime you want to like install a package in JavaScript, you can always do like the name of the package and then -- version to check if you actually got it. And yeah, you should get like a response. And that'll confirm if you actually have it. Next, we'll do npm install -g at vue/CLI, like here. And that'll give us access to the Vue CLI. CLI is short for, actually, what is it short for? I actually don't know. I think it's like command line input or something. But yeah, it's basically like it's like an interface that allows you to make input to the command line. So yeah, I mean, is it stand for command line interface? Yeah, and command line interface. So is everyone caught up with me so far? If not, you could raise your hand and speak up.
I think we're good.
Okay, we have what does the second command work? Sorry, could you elaborate on that, please?
Hi.
Hey,
Hi. Yeah. So I have a question. What is the second question? The second command. What is the second command for? So for
right.
what? Yeah.
It gives you access to the CLI, the Vue CLI, which we'll need to, yeah, to create the application, we'll need that.
So CLI application in the view, right?
Yeah, it's the
Uh,
Vue CLI, exactly.
okay, I got it. Yeah.
So I think we're all good. Is that correct? Yeah, this was like I have Windows, so I wasn't exactly sure how to do this for Mac. I apologize for that. Like I've never heard of a homebrew doctor before, but sorry. Okay, we have a hand raised. You can go.
I mean, it is your workshop, guys, but I can like, because I use Mac a lot, I can explain it to like everybody who's here. So if you guys deem it necessary, I can like help the guys who basically need it with need the installation basically on the Mac or something like that.
Yeah, sure. I'd appreciate that. Totally.
Yeah. So should I do right now or should I like wait until you guys are done with the Windows one?
So as all the Mac users, are you guys okay, or would you like Ali to explain it? Is there anyone stuck still? All right, sure.
Yeah, so what you guys need to do basically is to first run basically the bean bash command that I basically set in the chat. And that basically fetches the homebrew from the GitHub and it installs that in the bin folder. Bin folder is basically a folder that hosts system programs and system files on your MacBook. And it is the same thing for macOS because basically they use the similar systems and similar language because they're all Unix based. So after you do that, you basically run brew doctor, which is like a doctor. It's basically just looks into your installations and see if everything is correct, everything is up to basically order, and basically sees if there is any problem. And basically to make sure you got the last version, just to make sure, you after that you run brew update to basically get the last version. And after all that is done, you have basically homebrew installed on your system. And I just sent the brew update command in the chat. And you basically type brew-v, which basically, if you did everything right, you're just going to get the version number of your homebrew package manager. And homebrew package manager, then you can use that to install Node.js package manager, which has the command, which is called, I've sent it in chat. To be honest, I don't remember it because you only do it once, basically. It's called brew install node, basically, that you have to do afterwards. Let me actually copy it again and paste it again in the chat. Brew install Vue -CLI. And this is only for Vue. And if you want to basically install Node.js on the side or separately, I'm not sure if Node.js also downloads Vue. I don't think so. So basically, if you want to install Node.js, you do brew install here. I think it's just Node.js. No, it's just yeah. So follow the commands that I said in the chat, and if you're a Mac user, that's everything's gonna be all right. There might be a different procedure for M1, basically M1 processors compared to basically the old Intel ones, which I think there is a guide for that, but I think they fixed it. They kind of changed the whole thing where you don't have to like go through all the different procedures for different processors. So I think right now there shouldn't be a problem. It used to be a couple months ago when basically M1 was really new, but I think this should solve everything. Yes, here's a website for Homebrew. You can type things you want to install. Yes, this is awesome. Homebrew is a lifesaver. Anything you want to install on Mac, you just look it up on Homebrew and it installs for you. Like it's awesome. I think that's it basically right now. If you guys have any questions, let's just type it in chat and I'll answer it basically.
Is Brew basically
all
the
you-
Mac equivalent of APT for Linux?
APT. I mean, Homebrew also has Linux version. So for my Linux systems, I use that. But yes, I would say so. I never worked with that because I don't work with Linux much. I mostly do my stuff here, but I think it is. I think it is similar. I heard of it. Any
Alright,
other questions,
I really
guys?
appreciate that.
You're welcome, guys.
So if I can continue. But yeah, I'm just gonna say it's really important that we like get the Vue installed and everything, so like we have everyone caught up. I think that's the most important part because that we actually need that to like get it to work. So is everyone good now, or should we wait a little bit longer?
Please
Or I
raise
guess
your
I'll,
hand or jump on to
yeah,
the mic.
please, yeah,
if-
raise your hand if,
I think I did so.
yeah, you can do
I-
a Vue dash version to check. You can run this. All right, good. So if anyone has a problem still, you could raise your hand and we'll address it. Okay, well, I don't see any hands, so I guess we're fine now. All right, awesome. So we still have to go on the command line for a little longer. So wait, is this the right slide? Yeah, here. Okay, so if you open up your command line, like I don't know where your directory is, like I guess for me, like it's on my user directory, but for you guys, it might be directly on the root. So me personally, I'm gonna put this on my desktop, but you can put this like wherever you feel like it. So I'm gonna CD to my desktop. So yeah, you use CD to like go to whichever directory you want. And now once you're on the directory that you want to make the project on, you're gonna run the command vue create and then the name of the project. So I'm gonna call this click counter with using, I think this is called kebab casing. And yeah, you're gonna get this these like options to pick. So is everyone good with that? Raise your hand if you actually, yeah, just in general, raise your hand if you have like if you need me to stop and like slow down if you have an issue. Okay, seems like we're fine here. So me personally, I really don't like the linter because it just bugs me and it stops you for like silly things I don't care about.
Sorry. Someone
Mhm.
asked, can I see the command again?
Right, so the command is vue creates and then the name of your project. So for me, I put click counter. And that'll create the project like whichever directory you're on. Yeah, you should see something like this when you have it. All right, it seems like we're all good. All right, next, whoops, we're gonna go to, yeah, so use your arrows and navigate to menu select features and just hit enter. And we're gonna turn off the linter because we don't need this. I mean, I don't know if this is like a bad thing to actually do like in practice, but like this is a really small project, so we're not gonna need it like right now. So we're gonna use space to unselect. And we're also gonna want the router, which we're not really gonna use, but I'll go over like what the router does. So yeah, once you have Babel and router selected, you're gonna hit enter. You're gonna want the Vue version 3.3.x. So yeah, just hit enter at that, it'll already be selected. Use history mode for router. I don't think this really matters, like whether you do it or not, but I'm just gonna select yes. And then for this, you're gonna want dedicated config files. So the default value, you just hit enter. save this preset. Okay, so save this preset for future projects is just, yeah, basically what it says. You're just gonna have this preset for whenever you want to make another project, so you don't have to like do all this like setup again. So I'm gonna say no since I already have this, but you can put yes if you want. And yeah, once you're done that, then the project will start creating itself. And I just give it a couple minutes. Do we pick yarn or npm? That's personal preference, but yeah, either should work. What do I need to type if I answer yes for the presets? If you answer yes for the preset, does it say something extra? Actually, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, yarn is a lot faster. I don't know why I haven't like switched to it yet, to be honest. I'm just like using npm for some reason. Okay, yeah, so once you're finished, you'll see this successfully created project message with these 2 blue comments that guide you. So does everyone have that, or like raise your hand if you don't have that yet? Okay, I guess we're fine. So first thing we're gonna do is, well, actually, we really don't need to be on the command line anymore. We can close this. And now we're gonna open up Visual Studio Code to see our project. So we're gonna open our folder and check out the projects. We'll go to wherever we saved it. So for me, I'm gonna go on my desktop, and don't mind my 1 million folders, but let's see, I call it click counter. So right here, I'm gonna select that. And here we go. Here are all the, can I zoom in? I'm not sure. Let me see. So yeah, this is what happens when you create the project. You get this entire setup. You're gonna want to mostly ignore like anything that's not a folder, and known modules too. Like you don't have to look at that either. It's mostly source you're gonna want to be interested in. So firstly, yeah, I guess I'll just leave it with this like size. So the app.view file, this is like the main file. This file will appear on every page. So you could mainly, like, this is mainly used as a top navigation. But actually, yeah, another thing I want to show, how to actually run the project. So once you're on the right directory, you're gonna want to run Vue, or is it, no, it's not Vue, it's npm and then run serve. So when you do that, it'll still literally do what it says. It'll run a server for you. So yeah, it builds everything. It takes a bit of time. All right, and then once you're done, you'll see this. So when you see this, you're gonna want to hold Control and then click the localhost link, and this will open up your projects. And you should see a page that looks like this. So does everyone have this? Or if you don't have this, please raise your hand. Or if anyone would like me to slow down. Okay, so it seems like we're fine. Right, so I did mention earlier that Vue makes single page applications. So what does that mean exactly? So it looks like here we have 2 pages, but this is actually in fact 1 page. But what Vue actually does, and I think React probably does this too. When you switch to another like quote unquote page, it's really just rerouting you to a different like components. It just renders like different code. You see how it's like not refreshing? Yeah, React also does this. I figured. Okay, so let me just see what I have on my slides here. So yeah, we're like on this step basically now. Oh yeah, I should also show the home view. So how does a view file actually work? So a view file basically has everything you need in one file. It has the HTML, which is encased in between these two template tags. It has JavaScript, which is encased between the script tags. And then you'll see later that it also has CSS, which is encased in the style tags. But we can do this right now. So we're gonna get rid of all this. Oh, actually, hold on, that reminds me. We actually want to install an extension that's really gonna help us, because you might notice that your code looks colorless and doesn't actually look like this. So you're gonna need an extension for it. So you're gonna want to go to your extensions and search up, I don't know how you pronounce this, Vector. Yeah, it's VETUR. And it's gonna be the first one you find. You just want to install it. I already have it installed. So yeah, once you get that, then you should probably get like the color and like all the formatting back. And it also includes some snippets that like make it easier to start off your code. So yeah, once you get that extension, you're gonna want to delete all this because we don't need it. And then you're gonna want to do open tag view. We already have it here, so you can just do that. Type it out if you want, and then once you have it, you just hit tab, and it gives you like this starter templates. So yeah, the style. This is all where all your CSS goes. So we should be on to here now. Yeah, okay. So next, I'm gonna go over variables in Vue.js. So in order to create variables, you're gonna want to make this data tag in the scripts. So the formatting of it looks like, so you do data with parentheses, and then you want to use curly braces afterwards like this. And then you also want to do return and then curly braces. Now, everything you make in here will like be like a variable. So say I want to track like the number of clicks. I just have to write clicks and then just assign it a value like 0. And then, well, I call it counts here, but it's whatever. And we're also going to make this project display our name later, so we can put name. And then we could put, I'll put my nickname here, Millie. Now, in order to actually display the variable, well, first I'm gonna just put some text. I put like a title here, like click counter. So in order to do it, you have it's like this. You have like two layers of curly braces encasing each other, and then you put the name of the variable inside here, and it should display it. So you say like clicks, or not clicks. That should be name actually. Names click counter. And if that works correctly, okay, let me get my terminal back. Where is it? That's another thing too. When you save in Vue.js, it like automatically refreshes the page and like it'll display all your changes. So actually, I'm gonna split screen this so I could show you. Actually, let me just hide this. Yeah, so say if I change my name to like my actual name, Malhem, and I save it, you see it like it changes right away. We call this a hot reload. So next, we're going to display the amount of clicks. We'll display the other variable. And what did I call it here? I said here, you have clicked. H3, you have clicked. And then I'll put the name of the variable clicks times. And I'll close this H3. And then I also have a button, which it's not going to work yet, but we'll just have it for now. And this button is just going to say, click me. And again, we go back to our file and should be just like that. So are we all good? Well, I see no chats or hands up, so I'll go on. So now that we have our variable set up, we're gonna need a method to actually, do what we want. So you want a method that increases the count. It's a pretty simple method. It's like, this is essentially the same as doing methods in like any other language, like Python or JavaScript. So you just have another like tag underneath data that says methods, and then you put a colon. So I'll demonstrate that here. So, and another thing too, you every time you have like a different like tag in Vue, you have to have a comma after it. Otherwise it won't work. So methods and then colon, and then we have these open curly braces. Yep, that's right. And then we're gonna call the method, call the method whatever you want. I'm gonna call it increase counts. And then open this up, and then when you refer to a variable in Vue.js, you have to use the this keyword. Honestly, I'm 100% sure why, but that's just how it is. So you do this dots, name the variable, so this dot clicks, and then you could do plus plus. This basically is the same as plus equals 1. So there we have our method working now, but this method doesn't actually do anything because we haven't like called it anywhere. So that's where our event handling comes in. So we can take our button and very simply just say here, use one of our event handlers at click. And then what we do is we put an equal sign afterwards, open up quotation marks, and then we'll put the name of the method, which was increase counts. So when you click the button, it will literally just run the method, and it should increase the click counts. So yeah, here you go. All right, so that is the first part of the projects. Like I said, this is going to be very simple. This is meant for like beginners who don't know any bit of Vue.js. And yeah, there's a lot more like event handlers in Vue. If you want to check them out, I'll show. You could check the documentation. Like here's the Vue documentation if you're curious. If you go to, where is it? Event handlers. Yeah, there's also a lot of like form event handlers too with like text. Like this is the one I'm going to go over. Oh no, this is not event handler. This is input binding. My bad. Here, this is the event handlers. So it's actually what you're doing is this. It's actually Vue on like colon click, but what they did is in Vue is they knew that people use this very often. So yeah, here this says mentioned. It mentions here they use like at as a shortcut. Yeah, and click is just one of them. There's a lot of them. There's like especially for forms, there's a like at submits. When you like submit a form, it'll do something. There's also these like modifiers that you can use after. Like here it has like a click.stop. And then there's submit.prevent. This one's important when you're making like a login page, for example. If you do, or not really a login page, but like just anything where you don't want to like navigate to another page or like refresh the page, this will allow you to submit without refreshing the page. Which I'm not sure if forms normally do that. Anyways, so that's event handling. Yeah, and before we carry on, let's just do some styling in our page just to like make things a little bit more organized and a little bit more clean. So if you did the snippet, you should have the style. Another thing too, Vue has this keyword scoped, which the reason you need this is because with Vue it's a little bit weird. I guess because it's like a single page, when you put in styling, it'll affect every single page. So if you have the scoped keyword, it'll scope your CSS to only like be on this page, like this view is what they call it. They call it a view, like not view like the framework, view like VIEW, like you're viewing something. So yeah, we're just gonna quickly run this. So we're gonna have a container, and we're just gonna actually, I don't know if this is necessary, but I'll do it anyway. Just have this auto to like center it, and then with 100%. And then we'll have one for the button or buttons, because there's going to be a buttons class for the divs. we're gonna display flex that to make sure it's just organized, it's clean. Justify content center it. Flex direction column. This will make sure that they line up like one by one in a column format, like up to down. Margin auto to make sure it's centered, and then width 125 pixels just to give it its size. So I'll actually make this CSS do something later. I'm just setting it up. For the button, we're going to want to give it a margin of 5 pixels just to separate it a bit. Padding, we're going to want maybe like 8 pixels. And lastly, for the form, we're going to have a margin of 20 pixels just to, again, give it some spacing. And that's it for the styling. In terms of the HTML, we're going to style it like this by just putting everything inside its own div. Like this is, I think this is like usual practice for HTML. You want to like separate all your stuff with divs to like allow you to work with the CSS a lot easier. So I'm just gonna actually, there we go. I'm just gonna give some more space for myself. I'll close this terminal for now. So let me just see what I did here. Right, so you're gonna want to copy your H1 tag. Make sure you copy it, because what I like to do at least is I just delete it, make the div tag, and then I just paste it back in rather than like having to like click up here, click down here. And then we're gonna give this a class of container. Skip a line here just to make things neat. Always good to have white space. Same thing here. I'm gonna copy this, get rid of it. And then I'm gonna do div class equals. So this is the display. Did I have a display back there? I don't think I did, but again, this is just like good practice to always have like a class name for your divs. I'm gonna close this, and I'm gonna put this back here. And lastly, I'm gonna have one for the button. I'll have div class equals buttons. Close that. And there we go. So is everyone caught up with me so far? Again, raise your hand if you need me to slow down. Okay, seems like we're all good here. So if you may noticed, I've added some extra things here. So I'll do that as well. Oops, my bad. So I've added a form. Well, not really a form, but it's more like just an input box. And I put in a div class name form. So I'm gonna go back here. So below your buttons class, within your div buttons, you're gonna do div class equals form, and then close the tag. And then we're gonna do input. Ignore the v-show. I mean, I was gonna show that later. I think I accidentally took a picture of like more updated code. Oh yeah, no, ignore that. I don't know why I typed that. So yeah, inputs, and then you just close it, I'm pretty sure, like this. You could put a placeholder if you want, but I'm just gonna leave it. So if we go back on our website now, we should see it all updated. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't do very much. It just like fixed the formatting of the buttons mostly. So next we're gonna display. Well, we're gonna like display a different name. Like say you want to have a website where you want to input some stuff into like a form or like an input box, and you want to like change a value. So in order to do that, it's actually, all right, visibility tagging. I'll go back to this one later because I think input binding is like a lot more important. So simply what you want to do is just, we use an attribute called vModel. And then inside the vModel, what you do is you just put in the name of the variable that you want to like bind with. And this only works with like input boxes. Well, because that's where you put input. So v model equals, so we want to bind the name. So we do equals name with quotation marks. Now what this will do is when I go here, I can put any name I want, like Melly or Melly Let's Go. And it'll like follow along with what I'm typing with. It'll always update itself, whatever I type in the box. And now that's input binding. So it's really that simple. I could also go over like form input binding later. Like say you want to make like a login page and you put in like a username and password and you click submit. Like how you like get a value from there, or like how you update a value by clicking like a submit button instead of like having the value update every time you type a letter. Maybe you don't want that. I'll go back to that once I'm done with this. Visibility toggling. So simply you want to have a component or like an element that you want to make it, you want to like not show it or show it back, like toggle visibility essentially. So for that, we use the vShow attributes. So the way that one works is, one second, let me check this out. What do I do here? Oh, I see it. Never mind. Okay, so the way vShow works is it's kind of like an if statement. So the way you want to put like a Boolean variable in here. So let's make another variable. So I'm going to call the variable visibility. Or is how you spell visibility equals true. We're gonna default it to true. And next, we're also gonna make a method that changes the value of visibility. And if you wanna make a variable that toggles its Boolean value. So I'm gonna call this toggle visibility. Visibility. Okay. Yeah, just a nifty trick if you want to toggle like between true and false is you do, well, first you need this keyword, just to remember that. So this dot visibility is equal to not this dot visibility. So in JavaScript, this is the opposite. So like the not, but like, is it called a not operator? I think it is, yeah. So if this is true, then this is false. I'm saying true equals false, but now it's false, and I'm saying false equals true. So you see how it like switches back and forth. So we can bind that, or we can make a separate button actually. That was the plan, right? So we can make a separate button, and then we could call this button change name. And then inside this button, we're going to do the same as the other button where we have @click, our event handler, and then we're going to want to run the method toggle visibility. So this is where we get to the vShow. So vShow is again like an if statement, and we put in a Boolean value. So I'm going to put in visibility. So if this condition is true, then it'll show the elements. If it's not, then it won't show it. So that's how you have visibility in Vue.js. So if I go here, if I click change name, it becomes visible and becomes invisible, toggles back and forth. All right, just gonna ask again. Am I going? Is everyone caught up? Again, raise your hand if you need any help. All right, can you show your code again? Sure thing. So yeah, here it is. I'll actually go full page. Just make sure you have all this. Can zoom out a bit if you want. Oh yeah, actually, that's another thing too. When I'm done, I'll upload all this on my GitHub repository. So then, if there's anything that you didn't catch, then you could like check it out and see what you missed. All right, all good now. Where can I get a recorded video for this session? I believe we're gonna just send that out later. Like once I'm done. Where to get it? It should be in the Discord channel for the workshops. Okay, so yeah, I covered all this. So this is basically the app that we want. A very simple app. You just click, it counts your clicks and you can change your name. And since I actually thought I would have a little bit more time in this, but we have like 10 minutes left. So I'm gonna show some bonus features. Actually, just another thing too, I was gonna run this activity. So let's say you wanted to reset the count, like count back to 0. Then what we have to do is we have to create a separate button that calls another method on click. So would anyone like to demonstrate how we would do that? Like, if maybe even show like a snippet of their code, or like just say it verbally. Or even like this, how about like you could guide me like how to do it? If anyone would like to volunteer. All right, no takers. That's okay. Well,
Can I take a guess?
sure, then go ahead.
You know how you made the first button? So you use that code,
Yes.
make a second button, and if you press it, it resets the click.
Sure. So what would you like to call this button? Just
Don't click me.
don't click me. Sure, why not? Okay. So what do you want? Don't click me to do. What do you want it to do exactly?
Set the clicks to 0.
Sure. So what would you like to call this method?
You tell me. I don't know.
All right. Reset clicks.
Reset. Yeah.
And we'll do this dot clicks equals 0. Simply setting it. Oh, yeah. I have a semicolon here. Semicolons are optional in JavaScript. I usually don't put them. I don't know if that's bad or not, but anyways.
It's good practice for a Java course. But yeah, let's see.
So yeah, we gotta change the name of this first, of course, because we don't want it to increase count. We
Yeah.
want it to reset clicks.
Yeah.
Okay, let's check. So we click away, click. Don't click me. Oh, yeah,
Oh.
we're back to 0.
Nice.
All right, it works. Okay, conditional rendering. This is good, but I think what's important is to show components. This is like, I think, a key thing in Vue.js. And probably in React too, if I had to guess. Whoops, I wasn't meant to show that. That was my desktop. Okay. Let's see. Why am I not seeing this thing? Here, let me just split screen this again. There we go. Okay. So components in JS. So a component is essentially just like, if you think of like a function in a programming language, it's just a way to like reuse a block of code, right? So components basically just like reuse blocks of like like pages. So here's where the components are stored. This is the hello world component. So this is the thing you saw at the very beginning when like we had the initial page. So what we can do here is we can make a new component and we can call it something like just click counter dot view. And what we're gonna do is just take everything here. So you can do Control A, it selects everything, copy it, get rid of it, and then place it in this file, click counter. Now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get our template back. So we can do open tag view and get this back. And now in order to get this component, this page onto our other page here, we're gonna have to do like an import statement in a way. So the way it works is you do imports and then the name of the component. So click counter and then from, and then you're gonna want to go to the directory, like the path that has it. So it would have to do like, let's see, what was it again? Let me go check. It was Here it was. Yeah, so you do at. Yeah, in Vue, they have like a shortcut for source. Instead of source, you can put like an at symbol. So yeah, at. Let's see, at slash components slash, and then the name of the folders or files. So click counter. And then I think you also have to put the extension to -.vue. And then after you do that, you have to like do this thing. Like there's another tag, which is called the components tag. So you do here components, a colon and curly braces. And you just put the name of the component. So click counter. And then once you do that, you essentially have your component now. You can use it wherever you want. And in order to use it, it's pretty simple. You put the name of the components and you use it like an HTML tag. And you don't need anything after this. You just close it like this. And just like that, you should have the exact same page from before. So yeah, it essentially just imports like templates for you. So why is this important? A couple of reasons. Firstly, it's good for organization purposes. It just keeps things nice and clean. It's a way to have like an inner page into your other page rather than having to have like a giant block of like code when you could just shorten it. It's the same reason why you use a function in a programming language. It's just like that. It's reusable, it's clean, it's organized. And say if you want to like, another thing too, I was going to mention looping or list rendering, but I'm basically going to do this like a loop because we don't really have a list to render from. So the way this works is you need to have like a container for it. So I'll make a div.
Just so
And then
you
I'll
know,
close
we're
this.
4 minutes to 7.
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Okay.
This is the last one here. We're gonna render this thing multiple times. So here you put back your click counter tag, and then to do it you use v4. So v-4 equals. Well, for a list you do it like in Python where it's like for nums and for num and nums, but we don't have an actual list. So we kind of like make one. So I can say like I and 5 if I want to do this 5 times. And if you do this correctly, then you should have 5 of these click counters, and they each have their own like separate storage. So if I change this one, it won't change this one. They're all like their own separate pieces. And I can even like change the name here, and it'll be different from this one where I can change the name here and here. And yeah. So that's essentially the end of my presentation. So with the last 3 minutes, does anyone have any questions? So I guess this is like a 3-minute Q&A session now. All right, so we have a raised hand, or do we have a raised hand? I see a 1 hand symbol.
Hi.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hi. So I think I failed to import the click counter from the component part. So can you check my code?
yeah, sure. Could you just like write what you put?
Yeah. Can I
like the
share
import
my
statements?
screen?
I think we disabled screen sharing, but Ning, could you do that for us? Could you like?
Copy and then okay.
All right, let me see. Import click counter from. Okay, let's see. Do you have the file in your components folder?
Yeah, click
This over here?
counter.view. Yeah.
Okay, you have that. Okay. I don't quite see it right now, but let's see. Here, how about you talk to me later?
Okay. Yeah. Also, where can I find the? So can you say again? Where can I find the method of the view code?
Like all the code?
Yeah, all the codes. Yeah, API.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I said I was gonna put it on a GitHub repository so I could share it
Okay.
later, like
Okay.
yeah, after the presentation. And then let's see, Kenneth. I think I missed how to hide the input form. Then shows when change name is clicked. Right. So do you have like, let me just go back here. Do you have this? Do you have a V show visibility? Do you have yes. And it doesn't work, you're saying, basically. Okay, yeah, we're running out of time a bit here, so again, I'm gonna ask if you could just like, if you just like talk to me later. I'll have like the complete code if you could just like compare it to see what like where you made a mistake. Oh, V dot instead of, okay, yeah. Yeah, it happens.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
so
you so
if
much,
there,
everyone.
yeah, thanks. I was gonna say, if
Thank
there are
you,
no more
Millie.
questions,
Good job.
I appreciate y'all coming out here. I hope to see you guys using Vue.js on your projects. If not, I understand. But I'll be here to help. I'll be there present to help for like more advanced topics, or just help in
And
general if you need.
yep. And if you have any more questions to ask Millie, please head over to the Discord. And there's a workshop channel where you can ask him questions and where he will post his repository. All right. Thank you, everyone. I think it's a wrap. Millie?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right,
Like I
I'm
said,
gonna
I
stop
appreciate everyone coming
recording.
out.
Thank you. Thank you.